DoorDash platform enables individuals and businesses, consumers, to place orders for goods and services from restaurants and other businesses, merchants, and contractors. Once such orders are placed, the DoorDash platform notifies contractors that a contracted service opportunity defined in Section 3.1 below is available and facilitates completion of the contracted services. DoorDash is not a restaurant, food delivery service, or food preparation business. Wow. It is not a food delivery service. Contract or food preparation business. That means I ain't getting your food ready. Contractor is an independent provider of contracted services authorized to conduct such services in the geographic locations in which they operate. Contractor possesses and/or controls all equipment and personnel necessary to perform the contracted services in accordance with applicable laws. Contractor desires to enter into this agreement for the opportunity to receive contracted service opportunities made available through the DoorDash platform. Contractor understands and expressly agrees that they are not an employee of DoorDash or any restaurant, other business, or individual using the DoorDash platform, and that they are performing contracted services on behalf of themselves and their business, not on behalf of DoorDash. Contractor understands that they are free to select the times they wish to be available on the DoorDash platform to receive contracted service opportunities. 2, they are free to negotiate their compensation by, among other things, accepting or rejecting the contracted service opportunities transmitted to the DoorDash platform, and can make such decisions to maximize their opportunity to profit. And they have the sole right to control the manner in which contracted services are performed and the means by which those contracted services are completed in accordance with applicable laws. In consideration of the above, as well as the mutual promises described herein, DoorDash and contractor collectively, the parties, agree as follows. Section 1, Purpose of the Agreement, 1.1. This agreement governs the relationship between DoorDash and contractor and establishes the parties' respective rights and obligations. In exchange for the promises contained in this agreement, contractor will have the opportunity to receive contracted service opportunities through the DoorDash platform, and contractor agrees to perform the contracted services for any contracted service opportunities they choose to accept. However, nothing in this agreement requires the contractor to perform any particular volume of contracted services, and nothing in this agreement guarantees contractor will receive any volume of contracted service opportunities or other business through the DoorDash platform. Section 1.2. Contractor is not obligated to accept or perform any particular contracted service opportunity offered through the DoorDash platform. However, once a contracted service opportunity is accepted, contractor shall be contractually bound to complete the contracted services in accordance with all consumer and merchant specifications and the terms laid out in this agreement. Number 2, contractor's operations. 2.1, contractor represents that they operate an independently established enterprise that provides services and that they satisfy all legal requirements and have all necessary licenses and permits necessary to perform the contracted services. As an independent enterprise, contractor is solely responsible for determining how to operate their business and how to perform the contracted services. 2.2, contractor agrees that all information they provide to DoorDash or through the DoorDash platform will be true and accurate, and they will promptly inform DoorDash if any information requires updating. 2.3, contractor agrees to fully perform the contracted services in a timely, efficient, safe, and lawful manner. DoorDash has no right to and shall not control the manner, method, or means the contractor uses to perform the contracted services. Instead, the contractor shall be solely responsible for determining the most effective, efficient, and safe manner to perform the contracted services, including, as applicable, determining the manner of pickup, shopping, delivery, and route selection. As an independent business enterprise, contractor retains the right to perform services, whether services similar to the contracted services or other services, with or for other businesses and or other consumers, and contractor represents that they advertise and hold themselves out to the general public as a separately established business. The parties recognize that they are or may be engaged in similar arrangements with other businesses to supply services similar or identical to the contracted services, and nothing in this agreement prevents contractor or DoorDash from doing business with others. DoorDash does not have the right to restrict contractor from performing services for contractor's own business, other businesses, consumers, or any other third party at any time, even if such business directly competes with DoorDash, and even during the time contractor is logged onto the DoorDash platform, so long as performing such services does not otherwise violate this agreement. Contractor's right to compete with DoorDash or perform services for businesses that compete with DoorDash will survive even after termination of this agreement. 2.5. Contractor is not required to purchase, lease, or rent any products, equipment, or services from DoorDash as a condition of doing business with DoorDash or entering into this agreement. Contractor 2.6. Contractor agrees to immediately notify DoorDash in writing at help.doordash.com if the contractor's right to control the manner or method that they use to perform contracted services differs from the terms contemplated in this section. 2.7. When signing up to be a user of the DoorDash platform, contractor's information will be used to create an account. Contractor may not create multiple Dasher accounts. 2.8. By entering this agreement, contractor also agrees to be bound by the DoorDash consumer terms of service, and that any breach of the DoorDash consumer terms of service will be considered a breach of this agreement. However, to the extent that this agreement and the DoorDash consumer terms of service conflict, the terms of this agreement will take precedence. 2.9. The contractor also acknowledges that contractor may be offered opportunities to perform contracted services through the DoorDash platform by entities other than DoorDash, and that additional items and conditions may apply to those opportunities. To the extent that any such terms and conditions conflict with this agreement, the terms of this agreement will take precedence. 2.10. Contractor acknowledges that when engaging with the DoorDash platform on a mobile device, data usage rates may apply. 2.11. To prevent unauthorized access to contractor's account and to prevent unauthorized use of the personal information as defined in Section 5.1 and the DoorDash platform, contractor agrees to protect and keep confidential all personal information and their email, phone number, password, and or other means of accessing their account via the DoorDash platform by implementing appropriate technical and organizational measures. Contractor acknowledges that unauthorized use of contractor's account, email, phone number, password, or other means of accessing their account could lead to financial loss and access to contractor's sensitive personal and account information. If the contractor discloses or otherwise allows to be made known their account information, user ID, password, or other means of accessing their account to any person or entity, contractor assumes all risks and losses associated with such disclosure. If contractor believes some may attempt to use or has accessed contractor's account without contractor's permission, or that any other unauthorized use or security breach has occurred, contractor agrees to immediately notify DoorDash at help.doordash.com. 2.12. Contractors shall at all times ensure that they use the most up-to-date version of the Dasher app available, have a mobile device capable of reliably running the most up-to-date version of the Dasher app, and not intentionally block or attempt to bypass any automatic Dasher app updates. 2.13. From time to time, DoorDash may invite contractors to participate in sessions to test new features or services within or related to the DoorDash platform. Contractors shall keep confidential all information learned or obtained during such sessions and shall not disclose such information to anyone without DoorDash's express written consent. Section 3. Contracted services. From time to time, the DoorDash platform may notify contractor of the opportunity to perform contracted services in accordance with orders placed by consumers or merchants through the DoorDash platform, each contracted service opportunity. Contractor agrees that by logging into the Dasher app and starting a Dash, contractor is making themselves available to receive contracted service opportunities, which contractor may accept or reject. For each contracted service opportunity accepted by contractor that involves picking up one or more items from one or more merchants and delivering the items to one more consumers, a delivery service opportunity, contractor agrees to 1. Proceed to the applicable merchants, retrieve the items in a safe and timely fashion, ensure the delivery service opportunity is accurately performed according to the instructions, specifications, or guidelines of the customer merchant or any other party requesting the service, and 4. Complete delivery of the items to the consumers in a safe and timely fashion without taking any action that would change the quality or presentation of the items, and while adhering to reasonable expectations of food safety, quality, and health standards as required by the merchant and or applicable law. A delivery service opportunity is considered complete when all items have been delivered to consumers, or when applicable, placed in a designated area as instructed by the consumers. In addition to any other task required for completion of the delivery service opportunity as specified by the consumers and or merchants, contractor agrees to timely mark each delivery service opportunity as completed in the Dasher app upon completion. If the consumer is not available, the contractor agrees that the delivery service opportunity will be considered complete only if contractor both, 1, makes reasonable efforts to contact the consumer and wait a reasonable time for the consumer to accept the item by following the applicable flow in the Dasher app, and 2, either leave the item at the consumer location or returns the items if a return is required for a given delivery service opportunity, as indicated at the time of the delivery service opportunity is offered. Under no circumstances may a contractor take the items. 3.3, to the extent a delivery service opportunity requires contractor to select items from a merchant store prior to delivery, shop and deliver, contractor acknowledges that additional items may be added after contractor has accepted the delivery service opportunity through the platform. Contractor may opt out of receiving shop and deliver contracted service opportunities by contacting DoorDash support at help.doordash.com. 3.4. Contractor understands and agrees that the parameters of each contracted service opportunity are established by the consumer and or merchant, not DoorDash, and represent the end result desired, not the means by which contractor is to accomplish the result. Contractor has the right to cancel a contracted service when, in the exercise of contractor's reasonable discretion and business judgment, it is appropriate to do so. Notwithstanding the foregoing, contractor agrees to maintain both a customer rating and a completion rate found here as of the date this agreement becomes effective. Failure to satisfy this obligation constitutes a material breach of this agreement, and in such case, DoorDash shall have the right to terminate this agreement and or deactivate the contractor's account. Contractors shall not attempt to induce or persuade a consumer or merchant to cancel any contracted service. 3.5. Contractor acknowledges that DoorDash has decision as to which, if any, contracted service opportunities to present to contractor, just as contractor has the discretion whether to accept any contracted service opportunity. 3.6. Contractor warrants the contractor is engaged in contractor's own business separate and apart from DoorDash's business, which is to provide the DoorDash platform. 3.7. Contractor authorizes DoorDash during the course of any contractual service to communicate with the contractor, the consumers, and the merchants, and or facilitate direct communication between contractor and consumers and or merchants, to the extent permitted by contractor, for the purposes of assisting contractor in their performance of the contracted service. Under no circumstance, however, shall DoorDash be authorized to control the manner or means by which contractor performs contracted services. This includes, but is not limited to, the following. A. DoorDash does not require any specific type or quality of contractor's choice of transportation. B. Contractor does not have a supervisor or any individual at DoorDash to whom they report. C. Contractor is not required to use any signage or other designation of DoorDash on their vehicle or person at any point in their performance of the contracted service. DoorDash has no control over contractor's personal appearance. E. Contractor does not receive performance evaluations by DoorDash. 3.8. Contractor may use whatever payment method they choose to purchase items to be delivered to consumers, including but not limited to contractor's personal credit or debit card, cash, or a card prepaid by DoorDash. Contractor may use, for contractor's convenience, the prepaid card solely for purchasing items to be delivered to consumers. If contractor uses their personal credit or debit card or cash, contractors shall notify DoorDash by submitting a support inquiry through help.doordash.com, and DoorDash will reimburse contractor. 3.9. In the event contractor fails to fully perform any contracted service consistent with the parameters established by the consumer and or merchant or this agreement, including the relevant contracted service addendum, a service failure, contractor shall forfeit all or part of the agreed upon fee for that service. If contractor disputes responsibility for a service failure, the dispute shall be resolved pursuant to the payment disputes provision below. 3.10. Contractor shall comply with all applicable DoorDash policies and guidelines as may be published or communicated to contractor from time to time, including the delivery alcohol guidelines and the delivery tobacco guidelines. 3.11. Contractor agrees to immediately notify DoorDash in writing by submitting a support inquiry through help.doordash.com if contractor services or scope of work differ in any way from what is contemplated in this Section 3. Content. 4. Parts of the DoorDash platform enable contractor to provide feedback, text, photos, audio, video, information, and other content to DoorDash, collectively content. By providing content in whatever form and through whatever means contractor agrees to the DoorDash content and likeness consent release and grants DoorDash a non-exclusive worldwide royalty-free, irrevocable, perpetual, sub-licensable, and transferable license to copy, modify, prepare, derivative works of, distribute, publish, and otherwise exploit. Wow, that content without limitation. To the extent permitted by law, contractor waives its moral rights as defined under applicable law with respect to any content contractor creates or contributes, and contractor unconditionally and irrevocably consents to DoorDash and all persons authorized by DoorDash. 1. Exercise any of the rights of an owner of copyright in the content without attribution to contractor as the author or by attributing ownership to another person. And 2. To using, reproducing, dealing with, modifying, doing, or omitting to do anything which would infringe or breach contractor's moral rights in the content. Contractor irrevocably waives and agrees not to enforce any moral rights they may have in the content. If content includes personal information, DoorDash's Dasher privacy policy describes how DoorDash uses that personal information. Where DoorDash pays for the creation of content or facilitates its creation, DoorDash may own that content, in which case supplemental terms or disclosures will say that contractor is solely responsible for all content that contractor provides and warrants that contractor either owns it or is authorized to grant DoorDash the rights described in this agreement. Contractor is responsible and liable if any of the contractor's content violates or infringes the intellectual property or privacy rights of any third party. Content that is, among other things, discriminatory, obscene, harassing, deceptive, violent, or illegal is prohibited, and content must comply with all applicable DoorDash policies, including, but not limited to, the DoorDash social media guidelines. Contractor agrees that DoorDash may make available services or automated tools to translate content, and that contractor's content may be translated using such service or tools. Man, there's a lot of other stuff in there. Number 5, privacy of personal information. 5.1. Contractor may only process personal information as that term is defined under applicable privacy laws obtained in connection with the contracted services. Personal information in compliance with the terms of this agreement and only for the limited and specified business purpose of providing in the contracted service. Contractor shall comply with the applicable privacy laws and provide the level of privacy protection for personal information as is required by those laws. Contractors shall not sell or share personal information. Contractors shall not retain, use, or disclose personal information for any purpose other than the business purpose of providing the contracted service or outside of the direct business relationship between DoorDash and the contractor, or B, combine personal information received in connection with the contracted services with personal information received from or on behalf of another person or persons or collected from contractor's own interactions with individuals unless permitted by applicable privacy laws. Contractor certifies that they understand and will comply with these requirements and restrictions. 5.2. Contractor shall process personal information only for the duration of this agreement or until otherwise instructed by DoorDash. To the extent contractor maintains any personal information, contractor shall comply promptly delete a particular individual's personal information from contractors' records upon request by DoorDash. DoorDash may take any reasonable and appropriate steps to ensure that contractor uses personal information in a manner consistent with DoorDash's obligations. Under applicable privacy laws, contractors shall promptly notify DoorDash if at any time contractor determines that they can no longer meet their obligations pertaining to personal information or applicable privacy laws. Upon notice to contractor, DoorDash may take any reasonable or appropriate steps to stop the remediate the unauthorized use of the personal information. Upon DoorDash's reasonable request, contractors shall make available to DoorDash all information on contractor's possession necessary to demonstrate contractor's compliance with its obligations under this agreement and applicable privacy laws. DoorDash shall have the right to monitor contractors' compliance with this agreement, though any measures deemed appropriate by DoorDash. Contractors shall allow for and contribute to audits, including inspections conducted by DoorDash or other auditor designated by DoorDash. 6. Relationship of parties. The parties acknowledge and agree that the agreement is between two co-equal independent businesses enterprises that are separately owned and operated. The parties intend this agreement to create the relationship of principal and independent contractor and not that of employer and employee. The parties are not employees, agents, joint ventures, or partners of each other for any purpose. Wow. Neither party shall have the right to bind the other by contract or otherwise except as specifically provided in this agreement. 6.2. DoorDash shall not have the right to and shall not control the manner of the method of accomplishing contracted services to be performed by a contractor. The parties acknowledge and agree that those provisions of the agreement reserving ultimate authority in DoorDash have been inserted solely for the safety of the consumers, merchants, and other contractors using the DoorDash platform or to achieve compliance with federal, state, provincial, or local laws, regulations, and interpretations thereof. Wow. 6.3. DoorDash shall report all payments made to contractor on a calendar year basis using an appropriate IRS Form 1099 to form required under the law of Canada, New Zealand, or Australia, respectively, if the volume of payments to contractor qualifies for such reporting. Contractor agrees to report all such payments and any cash gratuities to the appropriate federal, provincial, and local tax authorities as required by law. Where required by law, contractor understands and agrees to remit all required payments to the appropriate federal, provincial, and local tax authorities. Payment for services. 7.1. Unless a different rate of pay is negotiated or contractor is notified otherwise by DoorDash in writing or except as provided herein, contractor will receive payment for all contracted services fully performed in an amount consistent with DoorDash's publicly provided pay model, which can be viewed here. DoorDash reserves the right to adjust or withhold all or portion of payment owed to contractor if DoorDash reasonably believes that contractor has defrauded or abused or attempted to defraud or abuse the DoorDash platform. From time to time, contractor may be offered opportunities to earn more money by performing contractor services at specified times or in a specified locations. Nothing prevents the parties from negotiating a different rate of pay, and contractor is free to accept or reject any such opportunities to be paid at different rates. 7.2. DoorDash's online credit card software may permit consumers to add a gratuity to be paid to contractor, and consumers can also pay a gratuity to contractor in cash. Contractor shall retain 100% of any gratuity paid by the consumer to DoorDash. Whether by cash or credit card, DoorDash acknowledges it has no right to interfere with the amount of gratuity given by the consumer to contractor. 7.3. For purchases that involve consumer or merchant payment via the DoorDash platform, DoorDash will process payments made by such consumers or merchants and transmit applicable payment for the contracted service to contractor. Contractor can view their available payment options and their applicable terms and eligibility restrictions here. By electing to use FastPay or Dasher Direct, contractor agrees to be bound by all applicable terms and conditions. Contractor is responsible for verifying the accuracy of their bank account and or debit card information to receive timely payments. DoorDash is not responsible for lost or late payments due to incorrect routing and or account information. 7.4. By agreeing to any separate contract with a third party to process payments owed under the agreement to contractor agrees that DoorDash shall discharge its payment obligations to contractor by funding the amounts payable and directing the third party processor to pay such funded amounts to contractor. After DoorDash funds and directs payment, any failure or refusal by the third party processor to issue payment to contractor shall be the responsibility of contractor to resolve. 7.5. From time to time, DoorDash may offer contractor cash-based contracted service opportunities. The order subtotal and contractor earnings from such cash-based contracted service opportunities will be deducted from the contractor's earnings balance in the DoorDash platform, and contractor will keep the cash provided by the consumer or merchant. Contractor is responsible for tracking, reporting, and paying appropriate taxes on all tips received from cash-based contracted service opportunities. 7.6. Notwithstanding the terms of sections 7.1 to 7.3, consumer orders placed directly with merchants rather than through the DoorDash platforms or www.doordash.com, fulfillment orders may be subject to a different payment model. More information regarding fulfillment orders may be found here. Nothing prevents the parties from negotiating a different rate of pay for a fulfillment order, and contractor is free to accept or reject fulfillment order contracted services opportunities. DoorDash will pass through 100% of any gratuity it receives from the merchant's consumer for a fulfillment order to contractor. DoorDash's and or merchant's software may not always include an option to add gratuity for fulfillment orders. However, consumers can pay gratuity to contractor in cash. 7.7. From the time to time, DoorDash may offer various promotions or referral programs. Contractor agrees that they will not manipulate or abuse any such promotion or referral programs by, among other things, tampering with the location feature on their mobile phone, collecting incentive or promotional pay when not eligible to receive such pay under relevant policies. C. Creating multiple contractor or consumer accounts. Contractor understands that engaging in this type of manipulation or abuse constitutes a material breach of this agreement and may lead to deactivation of their account. Payment disputes. 8.1. Contractor's failure. In the event there is a service failure, contractors shall not be entitled to payment as described above, as determined in DoorDash's reasonable discretion. Any withholding of payment shall be based upon evidence provided by the consumer, merchant, contractor, and any other party with information relevant to the dispute. DoorDash shall make the initial determination as to whether a service failure was the result of a contractor's action or omission. Contractor shall have the right to challenge DoorDash's determination through any legal means contemplated by this agreement. However, contractor shall first notify DoorDash in writing at help.doordash.com of the challenge and provide DoorDash the opportunity to resolve the dispute. Contractor should include any documents or other information in support of their challenge. 8.2. DoorDash's failure. In the event DoorDash fails to remit payment in a timely or accurate manner except as provided in section 7.5, contractors shall have the right to seek proper payment by any legal means contemplated by this agreement, and should contractor prevail, shall be entitled to recover reasonable costs incurred in pursuing proper payment provided. However, contractors shall first inform DoorDash in writing at help.doordash.com of the failure and provide DoorDash a reasonable opportunity to cure it. Number 9, equipment and expenses. 9.1, contractor represents that they have or will lawfully acquire all equipment, including vehicles and food thermal bags, necessary to perform contracted services, and contractor is solely responsible for ensuring that the vehicles used to perform contracted services conforms to all vehicle laws pertaining to registration, safety, equipment inspection, and operational capability. 9.2, contractor agrees that they are responsible for all costs and expenses arising from their performance of contracted services, including but not limited to costs related to contractors' personnel defined below and equipment. Typical expenses may include but are not limited to vehicle maintenance, gas, traffic fines or penalties, parking fees, and mobile device costs and fees, including applicable text messaging or data rates determined by contractor's carrier, except as otherwise required by law. Contractor assumes all risk of damage or loss to their equipment. Personnel 10.1. In order to perform any contracted service, contractor must, for the safety of the DoorDash platform, pass a background check and identify verification administered by third-party vendors. Subject to contractor's lawful consent, contractor is not required to perform any contracted services personally, but may, to the extent permitted by law and subject to the terms of this agreement, hire or engage others as employees or subcontractors of contractor to perform all of or some of the contracted services collectively personnel, provided any such personnel meet all the requirements applicable to contractor, including but not limited to entering into a written contract between contractor and such other party, accepting the terms of this agreement, separately completing the process to receive contracted service opportunities, and being eligible to provide the contracted services in the applicable geographic location. To the extent contractor utilizes their own personnel in the performance of contracted services, contractor shall be solely responsible for the direction and control of all such personnel. 10.2. Contractor assumes full and sole responsibility for the payment of all amounts due to their personnel for work performed in relation to this agreement, including all wages, benefits, holiday pay, and expenses, if any, and for all required state, provincial, and federal income tax withholdings, applicable goods and services, taxes, GST, insurance, duties and levies, unemployment insurance, contributions, and Social Security taxes as to contractor and all contractor personnel in the performance of contracted services. DoorDash is not an employer or joint employer of contractor personnel and shall have no responsibility for any wages, benefits, expenses, or any payment due to contractor personnel, nor for income tax withholding, Social Security, unemployment insurance, contributions, or other payroll taxes relating to contractor or other personnel. Neither contractor nor their personnel shall receive any wages, including vacation pay or holiday pay, from DoorDash, nor shall they participate in or receive any other benefits, if any, available to DoorDash's employees. 10.3. Unless mandated by law, DoorDash shall have no authority to withhold state, provincial, or federal income taxes, Social Security taxes, unemployment insurance taxes, contributions, or any other local, state, provincial, or federal tax on behalf of the contractor or their personnel. 10.4. Contractor and their personnel shall not be required to wear a uniform or other clothing of any type bearing DoorDash's name or logo. 10.5. If contractor uses the services of any personnel to perform the contracted services, contractor's personnel must safely and satisfy and comply with all of the terms of this agreement, which contractor must make enforceable by written agreement between contractor and such personnel. A copy of such written agreement must be provided to DoorDash at least 7 days in advance of such personnel performing the contracted services, and contractor must notify DoorDash when the personnel will be performing contracted services. The parties acknowledge that the sole purpose of this requirement is to ensure contractors' compliance with the terms of this agreement. 11. Insurance. 11.1. Contractors shall at all times during the term of this agreement maintain current insurance in amounts and of types required by law to provide the contracted services and cover contractor during performance of the contracted services at their own expense. Contractor acknowledges that failure to secure or maintain satisfactory insurance coverage shall be deemed a material breach of this agreement and grounds for termination of the agreement and the loss of contractor's right to receive contracted service opportunities. 11.2. Notification of coverage. Contractor agrees to deliver to DoorDash upon request current certificates of insurance as proof of coverage. Contractor agrees to provide updated certificates each time contractor purchases, renews, or alters contractor's insurance coverages. Contractor agrees to give DoorDash at least 30 days prior written notice before cancellation of any insurance policy required by this agreement. Workers' compensation, occupational accident insurance. Contractor agrees that contractor will maintain sufficient insurance to cover any risks or claims arising out of or related to contractor's relationship with DoorDash, including workers' compensation insurance. Where required by law, contractor acknowledges and understands that unless otherwise required by law, contractor will not be eligible for workers' compensation benefits through DoorDash and is instead responsible for maintaining their own workers' compensation insurance or occupational accident insurance. Contractors' maintenance of their own workers' compensation insurance or occupational accident insurance will not disqualify contractor for participating in the occupational accidents insurance policy for Dashers, which DoorDash may make available to the contractor. 12.1. By executing this agreement, contractor expressly agrees A, to accept and receive communications from or on behalf of DoorDash and its corporate affiliates, merchants, partners, or other third parties providing services to contractor or to or on behalf of DoorDash, including communications via email, SMS/text message, direct message, chat, calls, and push notifications to the contact information that contractor provides in connection with contractor's relationship or interaction with DoorDash and or its corporate affiliates, and B, that SMS/text messages and calls, including pre-recorded automated message calls, may be delivered to contractor's phone or device, including via an automatic telephone dialing system. The communication may include, without limitation, commercial or marketing messages, transactional or relationship messages, for example, messages about contracted services, security, responses to communications initiated by contractor, earnings for contracted services, updates to policies, legal agreements, for example, privacy policies, terms of service, newsletters, research, and customer support. The communications may be sent regardless of whether contractor has performed any contracted services. For example, if contractor has started but not completed signing up to be a contractor. Contractor acknowledges that receiving commercial or marketing messages, for example, emails, SMS/text messages, push notifications, or calls is not a requirement or condition for contractor to perform or engage in the contracted services. Message and data rates may apply, and message frequency may vary. If there are any changes to contractor's contact information, for example, email address, phone number, contractor agrees to update contractor's account to help prevent or limit DoorDash inadvertently communicating with someone else. 12.2. The opt-out option for communications are set out below. If contractor opts out of receiving communications via one channel, for example, email, SMS/text messages, that opt-out will only apply to the specific channel for which the opt-out is submitted. For example, the contractor opts out of receiving email communications, it will not apply to SMS/text messages that DoorDash may send. Please see the following for more information. A. For email communications that permit an opt-out, for example, commercial marketing messages, there is an opt-out mechanism in the message